What should have been it?
Well, the whole bit we just did.
Yeah, the whole thing with the cold open. Like what we're doing now, this should be it.
This should have been it.
Da-na-na. Okay, that's it.
Victor?
I'm Ruben.
And I'm John.
So I guess we should. I shouldn't even say address the elephant in the room because it's not really an elephant. It's just kind of we didn't say anything about it. For whoever was watching, we're actually redoing this episode because we had a little oopsie doodle for the last one, and it was a really long one. At this point it was our longest podcast that we had done. It was 2 hours, over 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
It was a really long one.
It was almost 2.5 hours.
And what was it? We had no audio.
No audio.
The entire time. We didn't have no audio.
No audio.
And it was really sad because I was really proud of that episode. I thought it was our best episode to date.
Yeah, it was pretty good. A lot of interesting topics.
Yeah.
We can run through a couple of those just to give you
a quick recap.
Yeah, we're basically instead of sitting here and re-talking about everything that we did in those 2 hours, we're basically just going to give you a longer form Cliff Notes version of them.
Yeah.
So we'll basically just talk about everything that we do or that we were talking about, and then we will go into the stuff that we are going to talk about for this episode. So just I say quick recap. It's probably going to take us about 20 minutes because we don't want to just run through it because they were engaging conversations. So I think we'll just go ahead and start with it. So the first thing that we talked about last week was at the time the Vince McMahon documentary had just been released, and I was really excited for it because I'm a big wrestling fan. I like WWE, AEW.
That took us an hour, right?
Yeah, that basically it was just me ranting about the documentary and all the stuff that Vince McMahon did for about an hour. While you guys kind of just listened.
Yeah.
While offering input.
You mean you know most about wrestling than all of those.
So and that's the thing, right? The actual documentary, there was nothing new in it really for me besides maybe a couple little stuff. There was a lot of stuff that the hardcore wrestling fan probably would have already known. I was more interested in you guys' takes because John knows some things about wrestling, but he's not well versed in me like I am. And then Vic, you just don't know anything.
I played
up until about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, yeah, not.
You're not watching it weekly.
Anything new? No. I mean, I'll catch it every once in a while if it's on.
Yeah,
but that's not
as much as I want you to watch it weekly, you just don't.
Well, the whole thing is most of the stuff in the documentary I knew because it was mostly older stuff that they talked about. They touched on newer stuff as well, but whenever they brought up stuff that was older, I knew exactly what they were talking about. Different scandals, different things that went on, deaths in there, whatever the case is. Just knew those things, but so I could relate a little bit, and I understood where they were, what they were talking about. But I don't know if it was supposed to paint Vince McMahon in a good light or a bad light. I thought it was going to be a documentary about them just totally trashing him. And then I found out after talking to Ruben that it was just no, it's a documentary. He's in it, and it's just about him. And it's but the more you listen to him in the documentary, it's almost like he's trashing himself. Just the way he talked, he was just
As somebody who doesn't know anything about wrestling, the editing definitely did not help him.
Well, it's I think when I was trying to explain it to you, it's a lot of people were not a lot of people, but some people were saying it was a hit piece on him. It's they didn't make him out to be anything that he wasn't really saying himself. Because he basically admitted to most of the things that he did. He just looked at it from his perspective, and you can argue his perspective.
He gave his take.
Is very skewed. I don't think any normal person would say or do the things that he did.
Especially kind of owned it, right? He was okay.
All the stuff that that happened with his son.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything or anybody you should sympathize with that, in that documentary, it's his son, Shane.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I felt bad for Shane. And I remember when he left, when he originally left back in 2009, I always thought it was weird because I was just he just left.
I remember that.
Yeah. It was a big deal, at least for me. And they obviously they go into detail, not super great detail, but they talk about why that happened, and it's holy S word, that was some hardcore stuff. He wanted to take over the company, and Vince was just well, if you're gonna do it, you're basically gonna do it over my dead body. So here's a knife, you put it through my heart, and if you can't do that, then I know the kind of man that you are, and I'll take that into consideration when it comes to like the heir of the company.
Yeah.
Which is a wild thing to say to your own son.
Yeah, to your own son.
That's wild.
And the thing is, like, all he wanted was like his father's validation and love, which I would argue he still doesn't have, even though he kind of says that he does, but I really don't think so.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's that's for like them to figure out if they ever figure it out.
we're not McMahon, so we wouldn't know.
Yeah, we're not Vince. We're not his son or daughter or anybody. We're not even in that sphere.
What surprised me though is that when some of the wrestlers, actually no, it's like whenever a lot of wrestlers talk about him, it's like they talk about him with this like kind of like, I don't know, like they like him, and I'm over here sitting here thinking like, wow, he's this horrible dude, but like most of the wrestlers are like, you know,
I'm sure he did like nice things for them, like
well, he hired them, he paid them. I mean,
Well, here's the thing, right? A lot of the people that are in that documentary are the people that Vince pushed.
yeah.
Like the people that he pushed to the moon, like the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, John Cena.
Who was it with helping his wife through with like medical help or whatever?
Oh, that was is it Jim Cornette? I think it's Jim Cornette. No, it's not Jim Cornette. Oh my God, what's his name? I forget.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously he's not.
It's basically his right hand man.
Yeah, like he's not gonna talk bad about him, right? Because I mean,
to be fair, yeah, if you do something like that, because essentially his wife had cancer,
yeah,
and because Vince McMahon helped and got her like the treatment that she needed, I'm assuming she's cancer free. I haven't actually looked into it.
I mean,
but like to be fair, if he did that for somebody I cared about, you might as well be a yes man for the rest of your life, because like that nobody's ever gonna help you out.
In his corner forever, yeah. Like
Bruce Pritchard, that's his name.
I was gonna say something Strickland. I don't know what.
That's a different wrestler.
Oh, okay.
AEW wrestler. Swerve Strickland.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's any like big takeaway from that documentary, it's that if you're not a wrestling fan and you watch it, you're probably gonna think that Vince is just a piece of S word.
Yeah.
True.
Like I don't think anybody from like the outside who doesn't know anything who watches this documentary is gonna be like, oh, Vince, he's a businessman and he just did it for business.
No,
which granted, I'm sure Vince thinks that way. He's like, well,
right.
I did it for business. No, I did it for business, and that kind of stuff.
No, I mean that's what I took from it. It's like, wow, this guy is not a cool dude.
Yeah, he's very business minded.
Very businessman.
Well, also, like, I mean, you kind of tell and you get the picture, like, how much he really doesn't give a crap about people, just by some of the stuff, like, throughout the years, like, weird promos he wanted to pitch, right? Or, we talked about this once, right? Like, it was just like, you want to do what? Like, I don't think that's a good idea, I don't want to...
Yeah, so in the documentary, he also has this, like, there's this, like, segment where Paul Levesque, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon, they're going to get married.
Yeah.
And, and Vince McMahon has the genius idea of, I'm going to do my Vince McMahon impression. Stephanie, Triple H, what if we put your wedding on pay-per-view? Oh, yes, that's good S word. Yeah, everybody will buy it. And obviously, any other person would be like, no, we don't want to do that.
That's crazy.
And that's what they did. They're like, we don't want to do that. And he goes, oh, you're so selfish. Oh, you're so selfish. Why wouldn't you want to do that for the business? And I'm like, dude, are you so business minded? Like that's all you cared about.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then the week before the wedding, he books himself in a match against his daughter. I think it's like no disqualification match or something.
That's what
that
was. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, like just because your daughter didn't want to have a pay-per-view wedding, like it's not that big of a deal, dude. Like it's like just let it happen. Like just let them get married and just be at that. It's like it doesn't have to be about business.
Yeah. Just let it be a normal, let your kid have a normal, 5 minutes.
A normal event.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't think anybody on the outside looking in is going to be like, oh yeah, Vince McMahon's a great dude.
I mean, he definitely has a vision.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, just a vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all dollar signs.
Yeah.
All you see, I think that's what they say though. All he sees is green. Like no matter what, it's just he sees green. Like anything with like dollar bills. Like another part of the documentary is, there's a storyline where Triple H takes Stephanie to like one of those drive-in wedding things, like in Las Vegas, and they get married, and they start calling Stephanie McMahon a slut, and like the entire like for the next week she goes on, and they're just chanting that at her, And then Mr. McMahon, and I'm for anybody who's like listening to the audio version, you know, he basically rubs his fingers, being like, "That's money," and I'm like, "Dude, they're calling your daughter something very not nice."
Yeah.
And you're just okay with that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like
For the
you're not,
money, that's
yeah,
all they
you're
care
not going to do anything about it. You don't really care.
And the death.
Yeah, well, you know, there's, yeah, the death of Owen Hart. To be fair, actually I shouldn't be. I was thinking of a completely different scenario with that. Yeah, that Owen Hart thing, that just they should have just stopped the show.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't. That to me, that's just kind of inexcusable. Especially for what he says afterwards.
Oh, like if it was me.
Well, yeah, because like they have Bret Hart, who I think is probably one of my favorite interviewers that they had, or interviewees, I should say, because you know he has a lot of history, you know, there in that company with Vince, and he's like, you know, had that been Shane, they would have stopped the show, and then they immediately cut to Vince McMahon saying, "Is like, well, no, if that were Shane or if that were me, I would have wanted the show to go on."
It was like, you're crazy. Like,
yeah, Vince, like, oh my god, I don't know.
I remember watching it live live pay-per-view, and it was just like you didn't really see what happened, but you kind of did. It was like, oh hey, somebody fell, and it was like, okay, well Owen Hart was coming out, so Owen Hart fell, and they took him off in an ambulance, and they didn't announce it until later that he had passed away, and it was just like,
well,
wow.
the worst part about it is that
The blood.
there's the blood stain's still there, and it's just there, and like everybody else, because like I think it was like at the beginning or the middle of the show, so they still had some matches left to go, and you could just see the blood stain there,
Yeah.
and like everybody who has a match has to like go past it or they see it, and like for some of them it was very emotional. You know, they talk about how, I forget the name of the lady, but it was Jeff Jarrett and I guess his manager at the time, you know, talking about how he has to basically cut a promo as they're wheeling Owen off to the ambulance, and you could see in the I forget the name of the lady who is the manager, but she looks visibly upset, and like Jeff Jarrett has to just be there and just cut the promo because you have to do your job, but yeah, they should have just cut that. And then another surprising thing, I shouldn't say surprising, well, part of it is all the stuff with, again, Chris Benoit. I will preface this. You can like Chris Benoit as a wrestler, but you can't defend what he did in terms of like the action that he did.
Right.
Well, I don't think anybody's actually defending what he did.
Yeah.
But like, the circumstances of how it happened.
Honestly, that was probably the most shocking thing about it was, again, and they get a bunch of wrestlers to do the interviews and stuff, and they bring in Stone Cold, and Stone Cold just flat out says, I don't believe in CTE. It doesn't exist. Yeah, if you're dropping on your head, multiple times, you're probably just bad at what you do. And I'm not making fun of Stone Cold. He could stun me right now, and I'll be happy.
I just remembered on that episode, I also said it would be the Texan that said that.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just him. Even Bret Hart also says it.
Right.
And I'm just like, guys, there's science.
Yeah.
There's actual science to it. Like, it exists. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's different. But there's science that proves it. And I will give Vince McMahon credit for that. Once that thing happened, he technically did something about it, but it was because somebody, the guy who was basically trying to prove that CTE was what happened with Chris Benoit, it was basically to get him to kind of shut up about it.
Oh yeah.
It's basically
right.
It's like, hey, this guy's kind of slandering us. Well, let's bring him in so he can teach us, basically, so he can stop saying bad stuff about us.
Right.
So he can tell us hey, come work for us, and we'll work through it. And again, credit, they did that. Things have changed. Arguably for the better. There's no more chair shots, even though the Undertaker apparently has a big problem with no chair shots to the head.
Yeah.
Again,
old school.
The old school. Again, the freaking Texan has a problem with the chair shots to the head. Again, I love the Undertaker, but arguably it's a bad thing. I don't think anybody's gonna say that chair shots to the head not being a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Is a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Granted, there's ways now that you can gimmick a chair if you want to do a chair shot to where it hurts less. But even then, probably still shouldn't do it. But because I've seen chair shots to the head, in wrestling today. Does it make me scream a little bit? A little bit. Not a whole lot. I'm not the most squeamish about stuff like that. Especially, again, I look at it from the Undertaker's point of view. For storyline purposes, it can be effective, but I think back at, I think it's Mick Foley versus The Rock, and The Rock is just repeatedly hitting McFoley in the head with a chair. Well, I think his like arms are tied in
Yeah.
front of his kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's rough.
yeah, it's rough, and like they're just there crying.
But I mean, also, I mean, I understand nobody's invincible, right? But like, there are people who you can't really. It's not that you build up a tolerance to that, but people who have taken more chair shots throughout the years are probably a little more prone to be able to handle it a little bit better. Mick Foley being, that type of person. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with him now, but like,
right.
I remember watching him in a like King of the Cages. Is it King of the Cages? King of the Deathmatch. I have a I was trying to look for it the other day because I actually wanted to show you, and ended up being, I think, the final. They started with a bunch of wrestlers and they like round robin their way tournament style down to like the last two fighting or whatever, or the last 3 or 4 or whatever, and the last match is Mick Foley, Terry, what's his name? Yeah. Terry Funk, and like 2 other people, and that match was like, man, you've ever seen ECW, right?
Yeah.
They put it to shame. It was just like the amount of chairs and glass and tacks and crap that was in the ring was just like, holy man. I think that's what got me to like ECW eventually, and then
Yeah, because here's the thing, there is an audience for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's me. Like I have a cousin.
I love that stuff.
like I have a cousin who really wants to go see a death match, and I'm like, dude, I'm game as long as we're wearing like protective stuff. Because like if you're like anywhere near like the front, there's just gonna be broken glass flying everywhere. A bunch of like unsafe stuff. It's like, man, I'll go if I'm wearing like protective gloves and goggles. Like, because like again, it's like one of those weird experiences. Like you probably shouldn't be doing it, but it's like car accidents where it's like
you have to.
Yeah, it's like nobody wants to see a car accident, but everybody slows down and turns and looks.
Yeah.
I mean, like so watching that get me hooked on stuff, extreme wrestling or whatever.
Mm.
And then I remember it went by a couple of years, and I hadn't even watched WWF at the time, and my brother and I were like, hey, let's check out this ECW stuff. And so one of the first matches that I ever saw from that was I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a guy named New Jack and Mustafa, they were fighting. It was one of the it was if you like that kind of stuff, it's kind of cool, but like he was strutting around the ring like the guy's just standing there and he's strutting around the ring and he has a staple gun in his hand. And so like he's like, I don't know if he's dancing to the music, and then he goes up and just pow right in the forehead.
Oh.
With the staple, and it was just like, what the heck is this? Like, I don't know. And from then on, it was hooked. I watched ECW all the dang time, and then I don't know.
Yeah, man, New Jack was.
That's the same match where he jumped off the balcony. He put Mustafa on a table, and he duct taped him, and then he went up to the second floor balcony, and he jumped off like just straight chest to chest on the table. Of course, the table didn't really break, right? The legs broke, but the table didn't give because he was duct taped to it. Yeah, that face exactly. We need to show you this one of these days. But
What the heck?
Yeah, John, Vic, if we ever open a Patreon, we're just gonna have you react to all the goals
that would be
matches.
great.
Oh my god.
That would be great. Yeah.
Because Vic, I guarantee you, if you watch wrestling, like old stuff, even some of the new stuff, I think you would like it. Because like, I think a lot of people like look at wrestling as like, oh, it's fake. It's not fake. It's predetermined. There's a complete difference.
Right.
Because like, for people
Like theater.
Yeah, it's basically a soap opera. It's basically a soap opera.
Pretty much.
It's like theater.
It's a soap opera with sports elements. That's basically what it is. And it's like people are like, oh, it's fake. It's like, all right, can I hit you with a chair then? We can find out how fake it is. It's like it's not fake. You can't fake a chair shot. You're gonna get hit with it.
Yeah.
There's safe ways to do it, but it's still gonna hurt a little bit.
You're getting hit by something.
Yeah, getting slammed by somebody, even if it's not full force, you're still landing on your back.
Landing 2 feet hurts.
Yeah, like it's gonna hurt. That's why I hate when people say it's fake. Just because something's predetermined doesn't mean it's fake.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's entertainment. Everything that's on TV is fake. Most things, I should say. Some people would argue sports aren't fake. I can.
Well, that's a whole.
That's like a tinfoil hat type of thing.
Yeah, that's a whole
right?
other conversation.
There was a period in time where I was like, okay, there's no way LeBron is this good. He can't be winning this many championships. or like with Tom Brady. I'm like, Tom Brady cannot be this good at being a quarterback to where he's winning that many championships.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, that's a whole nother.
whole other conversation. Anyway, how long have we been talking about this?
That's like 20 minutes.
I was like, that's just
That-
the
and
Vince
fun-
McMahon thing.
Fun fact: the exact same thing that just happened now happened in the last episode.
Yeah, we kind of just. Well, I don't know. It was more like I was rambling because I think we went more in depth with like the stuff we were talking about because we basically broke down everything that happened like piece by piece.
True.
I think for this time we're just kind of getting to the the things that
rapid firing.
Yeah, we're like the things that we thought were important. Because
Well, so, yeah, it was Vince McMahon. We touched a little bit on the what other Netflix shows, right?
yeah,
Avatar,
One Piece, Avatar,
yeah.
Last Airbender.
Which people have feelings about.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, it was mostly just casting.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much all it was. We didn't like offer anybody like real input because like at that point we were like critiquing the actors.
Yeah.
And it's just like
I mean, we don't.
I besides Joe Magliano.
Joe
Maganello. I can never get his name right.
Joe M.
Yeah, where he's playing Crocodile, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool. Like a lot of people really like that guy.
Cool.
I've never seen anything he's been in, so I can't really critique him as an actor. And that's kind of the thing, right? It's like I can't really critique these people on their acting because I haven't seen any of these people act.
Right.
So for all I know, they're bad.
I've only seen him in True Blood.
Yeah.
Which was one of my favorite series. It was good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. He was in Magic Mike. That's pretty
Was
much,
he?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So the only things John's ever seen him in are True Blood.
And Magic Mike.
Oh, what a catalog.
Yeah, now you guys know John's taste in movies and TV shows.
Hey, just saying. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll probably just not even talk about that because like again, is casting.
Yeah, we dipped our toes in.
I think we talked more like we were talking about the casting, but when it came to Avatar, we were talking about like the story elements of like how we thought about the show as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think we all came to the consensus of like it's pretty good for what it was.
Yeah, it was okay.
It's good, yeah.
Like-
I mean, they're doing pretty good with it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's only so much you can do in live action that carry over from cartoon to begin with.
Right.
And as
Well,
long as they
'cause-
kind of follow it a little bit, I'm okay with it. I mean, it was good. It was a good show.
Well, yeah, because you could do more in animation than you can
Yes, yeah.
with live action.
yes,
There's just more that you can do because you have more like not free willing, but like you're able to do more because you're not restricted by actual movements of people.
Physics.
I really
Physics,
don't
yeah.
care about the casting that much as long as the actor tries to,
Right, like
portray the
as
character
long as they're
pretty
doing
well.
a good job, I rarely care about how they look.
Yeah, to me, you just have to capture the essence of the character.
Mhm.
I do not care if you're black, white, Asian,
Yeah, that's
Hispanic.
whatever.
None of that, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, none of that matters.
It's
you know.
acting.
Yeah, it's all acting.
It's acting.
Yeah. I guess if I had to say anything about that, I think the shows are only going to get better. Obviously,
for sure.
One Piece I think was a much bigger hit than I think even Netflix thought.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, also the creator of One Piece is working on
Yeah.
alongside them, so there's probably a qualitative
But yeah.
difference.
Yeah, and again, that's another topic for another day. We can talk about like adaptations and if they should have the influence of like the original creators or if they should just be able to do their own separate thing. Again, that's a topic.
Yeah,
for
that's
another day.
yeah.
But I think in terms of like both the Avatar and One Piece, I guess in more so Avatar, it's only going to get better because, and this is just me saying, Avatar season 1, book 1,
Mm-hmm.
inherently is just boring because it's world building, so it's creating the world.
Yeah,
so
but
it's just
It's a lot of setup.
Yeah, it's a lot of setup.
It's a lot of setup.
Because book two is my favorite book. I love book 2. Like the introduction of Toph and pretty much all of Ba Sing Se. I love that.
Oh my god.
Like it's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then obviously they do the whole Zuko. He kind of turns to like a new
the
leaf.
redemption.
Yeah, it's basically his redemption arc, and then he turns on Uncle Iroh and he joins back.
Yeah.
It's all just very good. Obviously, spoilers in case you haven't seen Avatar. Like,
Yes, this decade-long story.
do you guys care about spoilers? like say there's a show and it's been out for like 20 years, and you've never seen it. Do you care if you get spoiled?
If a
It's
show,
out that long.
if a show's been like out for like over, like at least maybe a year or two, at that point it's like if it's popular, right? Like it's going to be
Or it's
impossible.
something you wanted to watch already, you should have watched it already.
Yeah, like if it was something you were planning on watching, you should have watched it back.
Because the reason I'm bringing this up, because we're gonna, I'm just gonna spoil it right now. Our main topic of this section discussion. God, I can't. Words are hard.
Yeah.
Our main topic
Agree.
of discussion today is we're going to talk about Joker 2, and just our general thoughts.
Yeah.
We won't spoil anything about our thoughts right now because we're going to keep talking about what we were talking about last time. But the reason I'm bringing that up, like spoilers, is like because the movie's only been out for like a week and a couple of days now. How long do you need a movie to be out before like spoilers aren't a thing? Because I remember when was it Infinity War came out or Endgame, the Russo brothers basically came out and was like, you guys have 2 weeks. 2 weeks from when the movie comes out. After that, if you get spoiled, it's on you. Do you think that's fair? Or do you think it should be longer or shorter?
No, I think there shouldn't be a time limit at all. If someone wants to come and view something, if the video is labeled, a Joker 2 review, don't watch it if you really don't want to be spoiled.
Right.
That's a personal thing. Now, on the other hand, if you're going to be talking, say this podcast, okay? If we're going to be talking about something that's brand new, we would at least have, the courtesy to label, at least put that in there what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Not like, okay, so we know we filmed, sorry about that. We know what we filmed already and what we went through and talked about. So if we just leave, like, say we only talked about Joker for 5 minutes and we leave that totally out of the title or like what we're going to talk about,
Right.
and someone's listening to it and then you spout out something about Joker 2, okay, that's messed up.
Right.
You shouldn't do that. There should be a little time, wait for time, at least a couple of weeks or a month or something. But I'm just saying in general, as long as content creators would label their stuff correctly, just pass it over.
I mean, to be fair, Joker 2 is going to probably be somewhere in the title of our podcast for this time.
It probably will.
It's probably going to be something about Joker in the title.
I think it's fine once the movie screening is no longer available. Like once
basically when it leaves theaters.
Yeah, once it leaves theaters, it should be fine because at that point you can't really watch it unless you get it from another source. You know what I mean? Like if it's streaming or you can get it like on Netflix or something, right? Like at that point, it's like you can watch it whenever you want and bring him.
At that point, though, like every movie and every studio is different though, because there's some studios that don't let it go for 90 days, and there's some that just release it within 10, 15 days.
Well, I mean, so. Again, topic of something we talked about previously. Borderlands was only out for like a month.
Before it went to
before it went immediately to like digital. So like it just kind of depends, right? It depends on I guess how good the movie does.
Yeah.
Like
how popular
I think Joker will be in the theaters longer than it probably should, just because they probably want to, spoilers. They probably just want to make their money as much as they can.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like for me, it's kind of tricky, right? Because like whenever because me and Vic go with one of our friends to pretty much every Marvel movie release.
Yeah.
And I try my best to like not get stuff spoiled like the day of. So I try to stay off of social media and stuff like that. Because we don't really do midnight releases.
No.
It's like I'm one of those people. It's like I want to go and see a movie, but like I don't need to see it like immediately when it comes out.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me.
I don't have the time for that.
Yeah. So it's we usually go the Friday that it comes out or like the day after.
When we're all free.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
It's either the Friday night it comes out or the Saturday after.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So like I usually don't have to worry about spoilers like that. But then there's like some other movies like maybe like you don't like I don't go with you guys. Mm-hmm. And I might want to go like on my own time to do whatever. I guess the most recent example, right, would probably be like for me probably like the Mario movie. I didn't see the Mario movie immediately when it came out, but
but there was images everywhere about that movie. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? It's like I had to like stay off of like I forgot what movie it was. It might have been Endgame, I think, where I had to go into my Twitter and basically just block any type of word that could have been associated with that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, Iron Man, Captain America, block all these words until I can go and see it. Because there's a part of me that does care. I don't want stuff spoiled.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to this about you when I went to go see The Force Awakens with my friends. It had been maybe like a day or two after it had come out, and we go to the movie theater, right? And we bought our tickets for late, so we're like in the very front. We're basically like looking up at the sky, essentially at the on the screen because we're that close. Like to where I am now is like to the wall where we're at. That's probably how close the screen we were.
Oh,
it's very uncomfortable.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. But those are the only seats we could get. So we're sitting there, we're waiting, and this is back when like iFunny was really big. So you would just scroll through iFunny for the kids who. Is iFunny still a thing? I know it's still an app, but I don't know if it's like a thing.
It's still, I don't think it's still a thing.
But it's probably still a thing.
Anyway, whatever, not the point. But he's like scrolling through iFunny, and then out of nowhere, I just see him like going through it, and then out of nowhere, he just goes like straight to his chest. He puts his phone, and I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, I just saw what happens in the movie.
Ah.
And I'm like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, I did. And I was like, like, is it? In my head, I'm like, was it at least good? And he's like, I don't know, and I don't want to tell you in case you care. And spoiler, I'm just gonna say spoiler. It was Kylo stabbing Han Solo.
Right.
So he's like, do you want me to know? I was like, no, I think I'll be okay. It's just just keep it to yourself. Yeah. And we went on to the movie, and we get to that part, and I just kind of look at him, and he's like, and he just nods. He's like, that was it.
Right before.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude, that's
rough.
Because sometimes that does happen. It's like you get unintentionally spoiled.
Yeah.
Because someone's trying to be funny.
Memes.
Yeah, memes and stuff like that. But then I also think there's like spoilers that like aren't spoilers that are like they don't really affect anything. Like when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, everybody was sharing the NSYNC him dancing. You know,
that doesn't really give much.
Yeah, that's not really a spoiler. That's
it's
more
like,
so
that's
just
Deadpool
like,
being Deadpool.
Yeah. Like a spoiler to me is something that like actually impacts the story.
Yeah.
Like when they showed Blade and Elektra and Channing Tatum as a Gambit. Yeah, like that to me that's a spoiler.
Yeah, if I had known that before then, I'd be like, that's major spoiler.
Yeah. To me those are spoilers. Like unless it affects the story, I don't care. Like I guess another example is like whenever they do like a new Pokemon generation and the new game comes out, because Pokemon used to like show you they basically show you the decks before the game actually came out. Now they kind of do it to where like you don't know and you just have to go out and search. But you get people who get the game early, or they find a way to get the game early, and they basically spoil all the Pokemon that are going to be in it. To me, that doesn't matter because more than likely you're going to see them anyways.
Right.
So like that to me doesn't affect the story. But like you can also make the argument who's actually playing Pokemon for the story, like.
Right, you just play to collect funny creatures.
Yeah, I mean I just play it because it's Pokemon and I enjoy Pokemon. But like knowing all the Pokemon that are in the Pokedex for that region, that doesn't bother me. You know, to me that's again you're gonna see them anyways. You're gonna collect them anyways. It doesn't hinder my enjoyment.
Well, I think that's the problem with like just now modern day. I mean, because 20 years ago there was no social media. I mean, there was social media, but there was no TikTok. There was barely Facebook. And it was like, wait, was there Facebook?
I mean, it might have been MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. I think probably.
The kids aren't going to know what MySpace is.
Excuse me.
AIM.
AIM.
Well, AIM was more of a chat messenger.
Which it still counts as social media.
AOL.
It does, but nothing that's readily available at the click of, at the drop of a button. You have
You
didn't
need dial-up.
Your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube Shorts, your Reels, but the Instagram Reels, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that's just immediately available to you.
Quick entertainment.
And so, I think that's ruined, or made the prevalence of spoilers so bad that you have to basically, like you said, stay off of everything. I can't stay off my phone if I don't want to wait for a.
Very easy to share stuff.
Yeah.
So
a new show coming out on TV. I mean, I guarantee you somebody's gonna have seen it.
They're
before
filming
you
here.
Post it, 30 seconds after it shows. It's come on, that's bad with anime as well, showing really death scenes or oh my god, and it's just what is this, and I guess I'm not watching that.
I also feel like it just depends on the community, because I feel like I've seen spoilers for movies, but a game that I haven't finished that I was really excited for, that I still haven't seen a spoiler for, like Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I still don't know how that game ends, and I've never seen the game be completed by anybody. So I can still play that even though the game's been out for a year and a half now or something, and I still don't know how it ends. And that's not even from me just staying away from it. It's just it feels like nobody wants to spoil that. It's just hey, just experience it and just play it.
Well, also it feels like a lot of the new Legend of Zelda games are more open world, right? So
I mean Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
They're basically I shouldn't say they're the same game because they're different, but It feels like the same, like basically the same engine.
Right, like same premise and
Yeah.
stuff. Like so, that feels less of like a story-driven game and more of like a walk around the world, be Link. You know,
I would-
not saying that there isn't story.
I would say Breath of the Wild was more so like that. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom has like a kind of
Well,
like,
you know,
an
like
overarching-
obviously second game they
Yeah.
changed some stuff up, but like I feel a lot of games that are less focused on story, more focused on the exploration. More people focus on the exploration and less on the story, so maybe.
Actually, that's another thing I want to talk about real quick, just because we're on the topic of games and spoilers now. Do you consider game mechanics spoilers? Like, if there was something that wasn't in the game previously that's now in the game now, do you consider that a spoiler?
Spoiler how?
Like, I'll give you an example. Like, in the new Spider-Man game, you can play as a... What's a good... It's not really a good example. I'm just going to keep saying it anyways. But, like, in the game, you get, like, the symbiote suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, like, and that's, like, a new mechanic. But, like, you already knew that it was going to be about the symbiote anyways.
Right.
But you never saw the gameplay for it. Well, I guess there was a trailer for it. Oh, this is a bad example now that I'm saying it out loud.
I think I know what you're saying. It's like
I'm trying to find, like, an equivalent of it.
like like DMC5.
Yeah,
Where
that's probably a better example.
Where you see Nero like with like a cut off arm and like a mechanical arm, and then you're like, he got his arm cut off? When did that happen? And so like I don't know if that was yeah, like you can switch out the arm to do different effects and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But like at the end of DMC4, he's living life. He has a girlfriend. He's still got his arm.
Yeah.
Actually, now that we're talking about that, I actually did come up with a better example.
Oh.
And it's in Jedi Fallen Order. You only have like the single blade, but in the game you can get the double bladed lightsaber and then the dual wielding.
Mm.
Do you consider that a spoiler?
Ooh.
Because technically you're going to find out about that stuff eventually.
Yeah, when
But
he's
but at the same time, the double blade, I don't think they actually tell you can do it. It's just something that you happen to walk across.
Yeah.
Whereas like the double bladed, that is something that happens in the story.
I don't know.
Well, because the double blade means
Because technically that doesn't really affect the story, but it does affect gameplay. So it goes back to like, is gameplay spoilers the same as like just story spoilers?
I think so. Especially if that's something that you enjoy or you like, or like you like to be surprised about things.
Yeah, I think it depends on person to person. Because I wouldn't care. Like me personally, I don't think I would care.
Having a video game spoiled or something happen, like, how can you say, like, if a game is keep hitting this mic. If a game has never been shown before,
Yeah.
and it's coming out like with a trailer, okay. If I see the trailer beforehand because it's spoiled or whatever, I consider that a spoil. Doesn't matter what it's showing, whatever, if they're showing gameplay, cinematic, whatever. That's more like watching a video or a movie, right? Same kind of concept. But once they've shown what the game is about, anything in the game, after I'm not gonna care about what's spoiled. If I'm gonna like the game, I'm gonna play it. And if I'm not gonna like the game, I'm not gonna play it. So, but I think it's just that first impression of, hey, this is gonna be in the game. Or I'm trying to remember this. I'm trying to think of like I can play Diablo. So when the new expansion, they just released now, but when it showed like the new trailer a couple months ago,
Sure.
it was all over TikTok. I was seeing little bits here and there, and it was just like, oh, okay, like seeing a little bit of it didn't really do anything because it just showed the new class that was going to come out or whatever, and so it wasn't really. I guess I'm not into the big of the like Diablo lore, so it didn't bother me. So I guess that's another thing, like what you said. It just depends on the person because it depends on how much you care about the game and how much you enjoy the game. Because there's people who really love games but they hate the story, or they don't like lore, right? And going back to the game we play, Smite. Have you ever read lore for the gods?
Oh, like lore itself?
Yeah, because there's lore for every
I've skimmed it. That's not a great question for me because I already knew about like all the Greek and Roman gods like before going into the game because I was a big fan of mythology. Okay. But for some of the gods, I did skim some of like their mythology.
How they like kind of mesh their into each other why they're here. And so it's just like I'm saying, most people don't do that. Most people
don't do
like,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I play the game and that's it. You know, that's... I don't know. Do you care about that? Lore in games?
See, that's hard because like, I guess it depends on the game, because I have gotten a game spoiled for me, and the worst part about it was it wasn't a person who spoiled it for me, it was the company.
Wait, what game?
This was Jedi Fallen Order, and all the marketing for it, you know, it just made it seem like it was a game. And you play as Cal Kestis, you do whatever adventure he goes on, and that be it. And on a YouTube ad, no less, for I think somebody doing like a deep dive into like the game, but it was like a no spoiler review or something like that. Because I was just like, I just want to see what people have, you know, because some people do no spoiler reviews.
Right.
And in the ad before that video played, they showed Darth Vader, who was at the end of that game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I remember thinking, thanks. I don't even think the game had been out for like a week yet. And
Which scene?
I don't think it's a scene. It was just like it was like a 5-second ad, literally 5 seconds, maybe 10, and it's just him standing there, doing something,
Standing menacingly.
basically, yeah. And I was just like,
Oh,
I didn't know he was in the game.
that's not great.
Now I know he's in the game.
Yeah.
Granted, it didn't like affect my enjoyment of the game because it's like, well, now I know he's gonna be there,
He's gonna be
and it's
there.
probably gonna be really cool when he shows up.
And it was.
But like, yeah, it was. But I was just like, the game's not even been out for a week, dude.
That's rough.
Like give people some time, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess this goes back to like, how long should
The spoilers.
like something be spoiler free?
Yeah.
Because like, again, to me, that was a big deal, and I'm sure to a bunch of other Star Wars fans, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
You don't expect him to be in there, you know.
Yeah,
Because at the time it was a bunch of new people. There were some old, you know, or characters from other things that were in that game.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're trying to introduce all the new people, you know, creating a new story.
Which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I really like the first game. You know, I think the first game is pretty good. I haven't finished the second game. I'm still playing through it. But I'm sure I'll enjoy that too. You know, especially now.
I finished it.
Yeah, especially now because like you know, when it launched, there was a lot of bugs.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And they've I think since fixed it, or fixed most of them.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I should probably keep playing that. But yeah, I got that spoiled for me, and I was just like,
I used to hate when they would spoil new Smash characters because I really liked the reveals, and so then just
see, those are spoilers, but at the same time, I was like into like the rumors and stuff, so it's like, oh hey, someone's coming in.
Yeah.
Like I never. To me, those are one of those things where it's like they're gonna come in anyways. Like you might as well just like.
Right.
Again, it doesn't really affect anything for me.
it does not. It does not.
Like-
No, it doesn't affect the gameplay or.
But like I get where that's coming from, right? Because like sometimes you want like a genuine surprise. God, who was the last one? Who was the last Smash character that I was like, man, that was actually. It might have been Steve from Minecraft, honestly.
Steve.
I think Steve was like the last one where I was like, oh, I didn't expect that, because at the time it was just like, you know, Microsoft still owns.
Oh, another
Minecraft.
Fire Emblem character.
Yeah. Hot. I mean, here's a hot take. For that is like, I don't care that there's that many Fire Emblem characters. Like,
I've never
Like-
played a Fire Emblem game.
like where this isn't the hot take for our hot take segment. It's
Fire
just,
Emblem is pretty good.
yeah, Fire Emblem as a game is pretty fun.
Really
If you're
good.
into like tactical stuff like that,
I'm
it could-
not.
oh well, then you probably wouldn't like it. But like I like that grid-based tactical kind of stuff.
Mm.
It's very fun. Kind of reminds me of D&D a little bit, of like moving somebody and like doing something. You know, it's kind of fun in that way. I really enjoy it. But again, it's not for everybody. You know, the lore can be kind of cool sometimes.
Mm.
You know, I don't really. That's one of those games where I think I just play it for the gameplay instead of like the lore.
Mm.
While the lore could be good, I'm not reading the text.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, oh yeah.
Too long didn't read.
Oh yes, too many. Look at all these anime characters. Let me go to the next thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, that's not the hot take we're going with. But I was just like, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, because there's some people that are really upset that it's like, oh, there's too many Fire Emblem characters,
Wow.
and it's just like, I mean, you can also make the argument there's too many Mario characters. You know, like
That's
Like-
yeah.
it's like how there's Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Wario, Yoshi, Bowser, Bowser Jr.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't think there's another one. Dr. Mario, if you want to count Dr. Mario.
I guess, yeah, that would.
That's like what 9. I'm sure there's just as many Fire Emblem
Yeah.
as that. I couldn't tell you all the Fire Emblem characters like off the top of my head. There's Ike,
Roy Marth.
Roy Marth, yeah.
Roy Marth.
The guy from Three Houses, I forget his name. Byleth.
Byleth. Oh, the
Corin? Isn't
Corin?
Corin.
Corin's one.
That's already 5. So we're already on track to meet with the Mario characters.
The one with the book.
Robin.
Robin. I think I already said Robin.
Did you?
You said Corin.
Oh, I thought I said.
You said Byleth.
You said Byleth.
Oh, well. Anyway, the point is, none of this matters. But like, I don't know.
Well, to stay on topic is it depends.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, our whole thing is trying to stay on topic, which is kind of crazy because like I don't even know how we got here.
Release dates.
Probably.
And if we should, how did we get into that?
You know, it's funny. I actually pitched this to John the other day when we were talking about it. It's like, you know, eventually we're gonna get off topic and we're just gonna end up somewhere. We should have a game to where we like try to like piece back together how we got here.
Okay.
Because like,
we
can do that right now.
Because it stemmed from like I think it was because we were talking about the Netflix stuff.
We're talking about the Netflix stuff. And
then we got into...
This is the off-topic section of this video where we try to piece back where we were.
Yeah, because so we were at the Netflix stuff, and then I think we got into spoilers. No, was it spoilers? No.
No, we were talking about the cast, and then we didn't care.
Yeah.
How did we get to the other thing?
I have no idea. I really don't remember. You know what's funny? We're gonna rewatch this like later, and we're gonna be like, oh, that's how we got there.
We're gonna be like, we're dumb.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't do it.
Well, to stay on topic that's how we feel about the the Avatar and One Piece live action.
Anyway, if there's anything to take away,
hardly talked about.
Look, here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from this is that Vince McMahon sucks.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon sucks, and everyone should hate him.
And speaking of thing that sucks, let's talk about the Joker.
Nice segue. Oh man, what a
musical.
I was gonna say trash, but trash pile, but yeah, musical works.
It was I mean.
So here's the thing. I knew going in it was gonna be a musical.
Oh.
Did you not know that?
I did not.
You did not know that?
No.
I did not know that.
You both. I knew it was a musical going in. Huh. Like that had been reported like a while back.
Oh, I don't even look at news.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm a big. I like reading like comic book news and stuff like that. But yeah, I knew going in it was going to be a musical. That being said, I didn't have to enjoy it. Like
I mean, yeah.
At the end of to be fair, I didn't think this movie needed to exist at all. No, I didn't think we needed a Joker.
First one had a good ending.
Yeah, I thought
it
was.
Ending.
I thought the first movie was satisfactory.
Just leave it there. If he's the Joker, he's the Joker. If he's not the Joker, he's not the Joker, and whatever. That's.
Yeah, you honestly at that point just make up a story in your head. Like I think where the first one ended was perfectly fine. But obviously.
So what was your biggest gripe about the movie? Just one biggest gripe.
Honestly, it's the singing. Like it's the actual musical aspect of the because I think
I have to agree.
I think the musical aspect of it is kind of distracting.
Okay, if the music wasn't in it, what part of the story did you not like the most?
I think, man, that's kind of hard because we'll get to it probably later because I think that'll probably be the bigger thing that we talk about. But I really did not like the ending. I don't like how it ended.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in a second because what happens in the ending, I feel like kind of tarnishes the legacy of a different movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I don't think that's for one I don't think that's right.
They shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, it should not have been done. And I don't think it elevates the second movie. Like it doesn't elevate the second movie. Joker 2 what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't think it elevates that movie, and then it kind of takes a big dookie on the movie it's trying to reference.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it didn't need to do that. It didn't need to do what it did. But they did it anyways.
They did it anyways.
I think that was the thing, because like at the time, I didn't think it was what I thought it was. Or I shouldn't say I didn't think it was what I thought it was. I kind of did assume that was the case.
But you weren't sure.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure. So then obviously, first thing I do whenever I see any superhero movie after I'm done, I immediately go to the internet just to clarify all the things that I thought.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that I was right in thinking that. So I immediately go and I go to like a this channel is called New Rockstars. They're very great. They do breakdowns of all the Marvel, DC, geeky culture, like stuff like that, and they do breakdowns of like scene by scene sometimes, and they get to the end part, and they basically clarify that's basically what it was supposed to be, and I was just like, well, that sucks. Like that's not cool, because again, it doesn't elevate the Joker 2 movie, and it doesn't do anything for the movie it's trying to reference.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was in disbelief. I'm like, they surely didn't do it.
Yeah, but again, we'll get to that
right
in a second. Let's actually talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Because again, the movie, I think if you took out the musical elements, I still don't think it'd be a super great movie. I feel like they not necessarily jump around too often, but they don't stay on certain things for too long. And then when they do stay on something, it doesn't have like an emotional impact that it probably should.
I didn't mind the actual first song where he's singing in the
jail,
in the room,
yeah,
and in front of by the TV.
Yeah,
because I mean, he's supposed to be a little psychotic, right? I mean, he's not all there, and him singing that song kind of like sets the, I don't know, it's just something you would expect out of someone like him, and that would have been fine.
Oh,
But
just
it was just
the one
extra singing, like the extra songs that just did, like Ruben said, they just did not need to be there. There was no reason for it. There was no. It didn't. Like you said before, it did not progress the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the music doesn't enhance
No
anything, and I think mostly it's due to the fact that a lot of the songs that they sing are just songs from musicals. They're not like original songs. They're just singing things that are from other media.
That was an issue I had. I'm like, wow, they couldn't just make their own songs.
Yeah, so if they had done more original songs, maybe you can get away with that. But it's a lot of songs that just existed that they're just singing, and they're trying to make you put one and two together to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain stretch in. Sorry, I forgot you off.
No,
there's a certain stretch of it where there's 3 songs basically back to back to back, and they don't actually have any like actual dialogue. Like it's basically it's one song, and then we'll go to the next song, and then we'll do a third song. And I actually remember being in the theater because I went to go see it with my family. And the funny part is they had just watched the first Joker the night before, so they watched that movie, and then they go and they see the second one, and specifically my dad, because me and my brother and my mom, we blatantly didn't tell him it was a musical because I wanted to see his reaction. And the entire movie, he's just like sitting there, he's just like kind of like just like making faces, like trying to figure out like what's going on. But you know what the funny part is about all that? He's like, Lady Gaga, I don't really care for her, but man, can she sing? And I guess if there's a takeaway from this, it's she can sing.
Yeah, she can.
But you know what she can also do that I feel like didn't really happen in this movie? She's actually a pretty decent actress.
Yeah.
The stuff I've seen her in before, yeah.
Yeah, because she did another movie with oh my god, what's it called?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, with Bradley Cooper.
That was a wonderful movie. Can't remember the name of it, but
it
was a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Like she can act. It's not like she can't.
She was also an American Horror
Did you
Story.
see her in that?
Yeah, she was an American.
It was pretty good.
American Horror Story. Yeah, she was in that too.
I was gonna say it's The Fault in Our Stars, but I don't think that's that's a different.
No. Okay, so but
I don't know the name, but I know it's not that.
Yeah, I know
even if
after I said that, I was like, I said
even if they were originals, I still would have had a extremely major problem with it because
gripe with it. Yeah.
Musicals. How can I say? I don't want to crap on musicals, but musicals, when you put music in a movie just for the sake of so the actors can sing and dance, it just makes it corny to me.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with corny musicals. I love Hairspray. It was a hilarious movie. But I didn't mind High School Musical. It was just like,
okay.
But it was a musical, right? You knew that going into it.
Oh,
not even if I knew going into it that it was a musical, I still would have a problem with it because it's like, hey, you're making a serious movie, and you're kind of crapping all over it by like putting music in it. It just makes no sense. You didn't need to sing. I'm sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Well, no, because I was thinking it's like when you compare this musical to other musicals, it kind of falls short. Like what's that movie with Johnny Depp? Because he's been I forget.
Johnny Depp.
With Johnny Depp, he like his whole shtick is he goes back to London, and he basically wants to get rid of these people because they put him in jail.
I'm gonna be real honest. I don't.
And then I think another actor is like Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah, she's in that movie too.
Wait, are you talking about the barber?
Yeah. Where he's a barber. Like that's an amazing musical.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That movie was great.
It's great. Like when you compare, I forget.
Or
oh, it's like the Butcher of.
No, not the Butcher.
Is it not?
No.
I have no input for this. I don't know.
But like, right, to get back to what I was saying is when you compare it to other musicals, it kind of falls short because it doesn't do what it needs to do. And that kind of, you know, because I didn't know coming into this it was a musical, and then once I found out it's like, oh, it's a musical. Let me switch my perspective on how I need to see this movie. And that immediately went, oh, this is not great.
I had to look it up. Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd, that's what it is. The Demon Barber of
Could not remember.
But, yeah, it wasn't... No.
Or Les Mis.
Les Mis is also great. With
great.
Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
That's the thing, man. Like Hugh Jackman, he could sing. Like
that
dude. That dude is actually super talented. Because he does Les Mis. He did The Greatest Showman.
He did The Greatest Showman too.
Like he's actually pretty good at what he does.
There's a lot of wonderful musicals out there.
And the music, the way I think what it also was is the way they placed the music in the movie, like the scenes that it had, and like it's like you kind of made it. You said like, okay, we're gonna try to make a musical, but not really. We're gonna put some music in it, but not really. You know, not.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like you have. You know, I've asked a musical and it didn't come out good.
You know what? It kind of felt like they had a soundtrack they wanted to use, and then they couldn't figure out ways to put it. So there's like, hey, why don't we just stuff this movie with a bunch of music in it?
Maybe.
Well, what I feel happened is they got Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, Lady Gaga's gonna be Harley Quinn. It's like, oh, but we have Lady Gaga. What if we had them sing?
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing, right?
Yeah, but was she Harley Quinn?
Oh, that's
here's the thing. You could make that argument because technically they never really call her Harley Quinn.
No,
her name's Lee.
Yeah, it's like Lee Quinzel or something like that. So like you could make the argument that she's not really Harley Quinn.
And since we're talking about Harley Quinn, here's my biggest gripe with the movie. Their whole relationship dynamic was just so skewed that it's like, I don't know, Joker's supposed to be the maniacal manipulator, not the other way around.
So I get what you're about to say, but I would counter that with, and I guess we should probably talk about it now.
What?
About the ending. Because I could make the argument of the reason it's like that is because the person we think is Joker isn't Joker.
Right.
Okay, but the entire movie, it's implied that he is the Joker. So it's a letdown of a movie, and then you get to the end, and then you could be like, "Oh, that's the reason."
Yeah, but
they didn't change the shit that I just watched for 2 hours.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it from like the top, the perspective that you were doing it, where like you're looking at the Joker and Harley Quinn relationship, and since they never established that she was Harley Quinn,
that they were them,
and
yeah.
you're only supposed to perceive that he's the Joker because that's what basically everyone's been calling him, like. When in reality, like again, we're just gonna get into spoilers now because like if. And obviously, if you've been listening to us talk about this the entire time.
For any listeners or watchers, we are now heading to spoiler territory.
Yeah,
spoiler territory.
Everything we've been saying is spoilers. So
yeah.
Yes, but this is like end of movie, big.
Oh.
Yeah, this is probably, honestly, this is probably the biggest thing that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a major letdown. So basically, at the end of the movie, Joaquin Phoenix's character, they basically call him one of the not security, but like the guards. You know, they call him. He's like, hey, you have a visitor. And they go and they try to take him to the visitor. And then there's this other guy who comes in, and he's like, hey, can I tell you a joke? And he goes and he tells her this joke. And basically the joke ends with like, you get what you deserve, and he basically stabs Joaquin Phoenix like multiple times, and he basically bleeds out and dies. So he dies in the movie. And then it's implied that the person who stabbed him, because he basically cuts a scar in his mouth as in like the shape of a smile, it is implied that that is supposed to be Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
And that is a major letdown.
It was.
Because that feels so shoehorned in.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't need to do that.
Mm-mm.
It has no effect on, The Dark Knight. It doesn't do anything for this movie.
Mm-mm.
It feels like you just did it to do it. And for me, and for a lot of other people, Heath Ledger's Joker, that's Joker.
Yes.
Like nobody's
100%.
gonna do it better. Nobody's done it better since. They've had a few people try to do it.
A live action Joker.
Yeah, a live action Joker.
Well,
I would say
if
the only
you're gonna
but I would say
imply-
the only animated Joker that's actually good is like Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
But if you're going to imply that is the Dark Knight Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker or whatever, it's a totally different origin story of Heath Ledger's Joker. It's like you're just totally erasing anything that happened in Dark Knight or, that character's being and why they are the Joker and whatever else. Like, I mean, they don't get into it too much in the Dark Knight. But,
Well, I mean, if you were to believe what he said, his father gave him those scars.
yes. Yeah,
So,
no.
I mean,
Well, not
he
only
could've
that, but
not-
it kind of makes Heath Ledger's Joker feel like a copycat.
yeah.
Because it's like, well, he's not the first. There was another Joker before him.
He's just taking the name.
Yeah, he's basically just taking the mantle. Which, I mean, I guess you can. There's a way you can make that work, but it just.
I mean, because I was telling you about this the other day. It's like, I think they also said this in the Suicide Squad, like in the first one with
Jared Leto.
with Jared Leto. It's where he says it's like Joker's an idea, blah blah blah, which I think is somewhat of like a running thing in like Joker's story, where it's like there's been multiple Jokers, and they all like it doesn't matter who they were before, they're the Joker, right?
Well,
And
it goes to the whole like superhero thing with
Yeah.
comics, right? I mean, like you can have 10 different comics of the Hulk, and he's doing 10 different things. And it's like, well, why is this not here, and why is this here, and why? That's when you get into the whole is this canonically, correct? And
Yeah.
so whatever. So I can take it as hey, Heath Ledger and Christian Bale in The Dark Knight. It was its own story. It was a Dark Knight story, and that's cool. They can have this Joker as the same Joker, different Joker, whatever you want to do. It's you're doing your own story, whatever. But at the same time, it's just like I think what bothered me more about it, not necessarily that they were, well, it did a little bit that they were imitating like what they were talking. I don't know. The whole Heath Ledger thing did bother me a little bit. Like they're implying that that's the same Joker. But at the same time, what bothered me like way more than that was that you built up Joaquin Phoenix in the story lore, right, and building up story that there were, people like there were not pictures, but like the flyers with like the Joker on it, and kids were like, "Oh, Joker," and people were like, "Oh," people were actually getting behind the Joker for like, "Hey, against establishment, against it," and it's like, so the Joker was created in your world in these two movies. The Joker was created by Joaquin Phoenix. So that other guy is stealing the Joker idea.
Right.
He's not the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix was portrayed as the Joker because in the flyers and in everything, it's the Joker, right? And he painted his damn face and he went on TV and he shot. Before then, there had been no Joker. He didn't copy someone doing that. He was just crazy. He was a Joker. So that guy was like, okay, cool, I'm taking the Joker. I'm the Joker. And it's like, but you just implied for 2 damn movies that he's the Joker. Which leads into like the whole relationship stuff with him and Lee Quinzel, whatever her name is. And it's just like nobody can sit here and say that was not supposed to be Harley Quinn. You named her Lee Quinzel. Like let's just not be
same last name.
Lying, yeah. So him coming to the not realization, but like saying, "Oh, I'm not the Joker" or whatever, and it's just like it just makes no sense. It's like I don't know. Like they took the whole story and just kind of went like, "Oh, we're just gonna set it up. Here's a randomizer. This is what's gonna happen." And I don't know what they were thinking.
I will say this: there are parts of the movie I did like. Like there's a part in the movie where they're doing like a interrogation of, I forget the name of the character, but it's the short guy. Who was a clown before? Who was there when Joaquin Phoenix's character killed the other guy?
Yeah.
And that bit of dialogue between the two of them is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Because at the very end, Joaquin's like, no more questions, and he basically is like, I liked you. You were the only person who treated me like a person. You were my only friend. And I was like, that's really good character beat, because it also shows basically what he's trying to defend of like, no, I'm mentally ill. Like, I can be a good person. I just had this thing where it just kind of snapped, and I couldn't take it, because it kind of humanizes his character. It's like, is he really that bad? Because this person's saying otherwise,
Yeah.
So like I liked that part. Like I said, there's parts of the movie that aren't like terrible. It's just unfortunately most of the movie is.
Well, yeah. There were some good parts. I do have to say that there were some good parts, but even with making the rest of the movie like really, really good, the musical killed it.
Yeah.
The musical killed it, and the ending was just kind of that made no sense. I think those were the two biggest things, and like I said, my biggest thing was the relationship, the dynamic between them two. It was just like, what? Like she's a psychiatrist, doctor.
Well, I mean, Harley
yeah.
is a psychiatrist.
Yeah, she's a psychiatrist. I know, but just the way they played it out in the story.
Right. Yeah.
I will say this. I don't think, because I've seen people say this, they're like, "Oh, this is the worst movie of the year." No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Like, you can argue Borderlands was worse.
yeah.
Like, and more importantly, I think that it's been so long since it's come out that I don't think people understand just how actually bad, from a storyline perspective and an editing perspective, that Madam Web was.
I forgot this.
That Madam Web was this year, and that movie is arguably terrible.
That was a terrible
like
movie.
It has nothing to do with them being like women or anything like that. It's just from an editorial standpoint, the movie is just poorly edited. Like, it's actually poorly edited. It's not super great. For anybody who's watching the video, John, we have a thing of soda, and I think John got thirsty. So he's pouring himself a thing of soda, but the only way to get to it is basically to stretch over the camera that we have. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's not the worst movie to come out this year.
It's not.
It's not even close. Is it bad? Yes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a good movie. Like, I think you should go and spend your hard-earned money to go and watch it. I don't think you should do that. But to say it's the worst movie is
to call it the worst is a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bit much. No. But again, I don't think it needed to existed. Now that it does exist, I think if you are interested in watching it, don't. Just save yourself the 2 hours. You'll probably get more enjoyment of somebody reviewing it for you than for you to go and watch it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So watch the first one. Skip the second one.
Yeah.
First one's great.
And you know what? I'll do you one better. Watch the first one, and then don't watch the second one, and then go rewatch The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Just enjoy The Dark Knight for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't you also say earlier that they were also kind of implying that the Joker from The Batman, played by Robert Pattinson, was it was implied that they were the same Joker?
Well, not that it was. Yeah.
Because it was the same actor, you said.
It looks like the same actor. I don't know if it's the same actor. I thought it was the same actor. Maybe it's not. I didn't look it up.
Where the guy who stabbed Joaquin in the movie?
Yeah. Different.
Okay. No, I think they look completely different. I honestly think
it's been a while since I've seen
I honestly think
Robert
the guy that
Pattinson
they got
one.
to again, I don't know the actual name of the character. I'm gonna keep referring to him as the guy who stabbed Joaquin.
The guy who stabbed Joaquin.
Because I don't remember the character's name either. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, it doesn't matter.
I'm actively.
Well, it's something that I probably read or saw online. I don't know.
But like, I remember seeing him come up, and I was it was after he stabbed him. Or it might have been like right before he stabbed him when he was telling the joke. I was like, this guy has an uncanny resemblance to Heath Ledger. and then the stuff happens,
Yes,
and then he slits
A
his
little bit.
then he slits his face to the smile,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, they're trying to make him that Joker.
That
No.
Joker, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, no, that doesn't fly with me, fam. That's not good.
Wow.
Anyway, I think we're just gonna leave it like that. I think we said our piece. Again, we're gonna save you the time. Don't watch it.
You don't gotta.
If you even think about watching it, don't.
That's on you.
Just don't. Or I don't know. Maybe you want to torture yourself a little bit. You can go and watch.
Yeah,
it.
we're not here to tell you what to do, but we're just trying to help you out. Not waste 2 hours of your life.
If you want to listen on how not to do musicals, watch it.
Yeah. Or if you're maybe you're an up and coming student of film, and you make a first movie. You make your first movie. You're like, man, I can't wait to do my second movie. Really think about it if you want to do a second movie. Really think about it.
That's good.
Because sometimes you should just make one movie, and you should just enjoy that one movie.
Yeah.
But then you get the success go to your head.
Yeah. Or if you are going to do a second movie, it should be a completely different story.
Or you should just make it good.
Make it, just make it good.
Just make it good.
Just make it good.
Here's that old saying: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do a musical.
No.
You didn't need to make the movie. Just leave it alone. And they just couldn't leave it alone.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for that. I don't know what we want to go into next, actually.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, because I don't actually know if we have a hot take for this week.
Not really.
No.
Well,
I have lots of hot takes, but not really any that I really want to get into here.
Yeah, I mean the only like I said, we had the hot take earlier. Where I was like, I don't think there's that the whole Fire Emblem characters is a bad thing. But it's not really. Well, I guess it's a hot take, but it's not like a hot take.
You know what? There is something that you said earlier that kind of stuck with me is lore versus gameplay.
Okay.
Is what do you think is more important to a video game?
100% gameplay.
See, I don't know.
Gameplay's going to keep me coming back.
Well, here's the thing. When you say lore, do you mean like just story? Like the actual story, or are you talking about like the world within the story?
I would say it all encompassing together, right? Like both the story and the world building.
Because at that point, I feel like it's dependent on the game, right? Because like I'm not playing The Last of Us because I think the gameplay is riveting. I'm playing it because I want to know the story of what's happening in The Last of Us. Like I want to know what happens with Ellie and Joel. Like I don't care about the gameplay.
Right.
But like I think inherently the gameplay has to be fun enough to like keep you invested. You can't put all of your chips on story and then neglect the gameplay. Because inherently, yeah, the story could be good, but like if the gameplay feels repetitive or it's not as like intuitive, people are going to drop the game. Like even if they like the story, because at that point it's like, well, I could just watch somebody's, edited like movie clipped version of the whole story and just be done with it. So I think inherently the gameplay has to be there, but I don't think it needs to be like the full focal point of everything.
What did you play Devil May Cry because you like the story or just because?
Oh, story.
Really?
Yeah.
I would 100% play it because I get to go crazy with Dante and just.
Well.
And now we're back. Okay.
Now
cool.
we're back.
Hopefully that didn't cut like in the middle of what we were talking about.
Well, it looked like it was still recording audio.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see what
if the mic didn't actually pick up the ringer.
Yeah.
Then cool.
Hey.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you'll find out, then you'll let us know.
Yeah.
Because you're the one who does the editing.
So, lore versus gameplay?
Yeah, lore versus gameplay. Because I know a lot of people that go play games, right? And will literally skip through cutscenes because they don't care. And they'll just play game. Like, they just want to play the game.
Well, it's like what I was talking about earlier. It's like I don't play Pokemon for the story. Like there's a story there, but I'm just mashing B.
But
the
what
next battle.
What I mean is, what was it? I forget who it was. I think it's somebody at my job told me they played God of War.
Right.
Like, no, not right. The first one.
Yeah, no, that's just right.
Well, yeah, God of War literally skipped the whole story and just played the game. They
See, that sounds
right. I was like, how? It's like I don't know. I just didn't care about it. I just want to hit. I just want to fight and hit creatures. I was like, that's insane. That's
every game.
That's psychotic.
Every game that I play.
Yeah.
I do that.
John.
Every game.
You know, there's a part of me that was like, this is really that hot of a take, but that's crazy.
That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
you know what? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record myself just to show you guys how my normal like MMO goes, right?
Yeah.
So, especially MMOs, right? Wonderful lore,
Sure.
great backstory. Even stupid MMOs like what I play in MapleStory, they have a whole gigantic world of like, you know, to keep you invested in stuff, and it's cool.
Mhm.
Great cinematics, nice, you know, graphics. 99% of my time is spent holding control, and the dialogue is going. Yes, but I don't even have to use my mouse anymore because there's hotkeys over like. So it's left yes,
Well,
left yes, left yes. Okay, I just skipped 10 minutes of dialogue so I can go grind again.
Yeah.
And in single player games, God of War, same thing.
Yeah.
I think the original and the second God of War,
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
as much as possible. I can't.
I could not imagine doing that.
Gameplay.
Like I know I just said that for like Pokemon, but like I could not imagine doing it for like a story based game.
Yeah.
I need to pay attention to like
story-based game that have quests, especially. Oh God, it's like, okay, get me to the end. Yes, cool. Accepts quest, and it goes.
Yeah.
It's flowers because look, you got the quest done.
Wow.
And a new one pops up. Sometimes I'm too close to the NPC, so as I'm holding it, the dialogue comes back up again, like it's gonna start over, and I just let it go, keep going. Okay, finish. Yes, done. Get on with my day. I'm not sitting there and turning a 5-hour quest line because there's sometimes like, okay, I play this game with my wife, and she tells me, oh yeah, I'm done with this, and 5 hours later, 4 hours later, she's like, I'm done with this, and I'm like, she's been done with that like in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that's right.
She read
my wife goes like this, each box that comes up. By then, I'm past probably about 30 dialogue boxes.
Right.
My voice is cracking. But yeah, I don't know why, ever since I was younger.
Yeah.
And I kind of hearken it to, or like it, how can I say? I understand why you skip through stuff. Not skip, you don't skip. You,
the 2 times speed stuff?
2 times speed stuff. I totally get it, but in games.
You know what's funny? I've actually, for certain things, I've actually stopped doing that.
Oh, really?
Oh,
not because I'm genuinely caring about what's going on. It's just like sometimes like, especially when I get caught up on stuff, because a lot of the times I do it because I'm behind on stuff, so I'm like, oh, I need to get caught up. But like lately, I've been pretty up to date with all the stuff, like especially like the animes that have been coming out that I've been wanting to watch. Like there'll be days it's like, oh, all I have to watch is like 2 episodes of like 2 different animes, or like 1 episode each of 2 different animes.
So if you're not behind,
yeah, I'm not behind.
You're watching it. Oh, okay.
Now, granted, I still do it for YouTube videos. Like
really?
I still do it for YouTube videos. Like,
wow, I cannot imagine that.
No,
like,
bro, dude, because like people are making video essays that are like an hour long.
So then why watch it?
Because I'm still interested in what they're talking about.
You guys are psychotic.
No,
I could never.
Like, here's the thing. Like, this is the thing, and I'm exposing myself right now. Whenever you tell me to review the podcast for editing, like for notes and stuff, I watch it at 2 times speed.
Oh, I would too. I would 100 because there's no reason. I mean, that's just yeah.
I watch our podcast at 2 times speed.
If I could, I'd watch it at 4 times just to see if I could get through it, and that's fine.
Damn.
But what I get your whole instead of what you say, putting it on 2 times. It's reminding me today because my youngest son, Sebastian, I was watching anime in the room, and he's sitting on his laptop, and sometimes he comes over and he's like, "Oh, that looks kind of interesting. Let me just check it out from over there," because he's reading on my screen. And I've gotten him into he's gotten into a couple of anime like that. Now he wants to watch My Hero because he was watching some episodes the other day. I fell asleep and I went back and I was like, why am I like 7, 8 episodes ahead? Because he watched them and he was like, oh, I want to go back from the beginning, so we're gonna start My Hero.
Is he watching it subbed?
Yeah, subbed.
Okay, I was gonna say cold take. Even though we're talking about hot takes, the dub for My Hero is pretty bad.
Yeah, we're not. No dub. I don't watch dub.
Like no offense to the dub people, I'm sure they work very hard. Yeah. I just specifically for Deku.
I can't watch any dubbed because of the voice actors. All dubbed, I do not like because all the voice actors sound the same, it's all over exaggerated, trying to sound like the Japanese version, but not really. I don't know. It's too over exaggerated. Don't like it.
I don't see that doesn't bother me because like I look at like Japanese voice acting and I swear I forget the name of the actress, but the girl who plays Yor in Spy Family, I've heard her in so many things. Like it seems like every other show I'm watching, she's like.
Oh, I don't mind that. Like, yeah, there's sometimes where I'm like, wow, is that
there's not a problem. She's talented. Yeah. She wouldn't be booking these roles if she wasn't talented.
I'm just talking about the over exaggeratedness of if that's even a word, of the American actors or dubbed actors. You know.
Yeah.
So back to my stupid statement. So I'm sitting there and he comes over to me and he taps me on the shoulder and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm watching an anime show." And he's like, "No, you're skipping ahead." I was like, "Yeah, because between this dialogue and the next dialogue, there's about 5 seconds of nothingness. So dialogue to dialogue to dialogue, you know."
Right.
I said, if I miss anything or something like, oh wow, maybe I skipped a sentence, back one, and that's how I watch it because I'm trying to get, especially with anime that I like. It sounds stupid. You think that you would want to watch that more, right?
Sure.
But
it's like me with Power Rangers. I've talked to you about it, where it's like when I watch Power Rangers, I only watch the actual dialogue parts. I don't watch the fighting. I don't watch the Megazord battles.
Just like zoom past.
I just get to the actual dialogue for the story because that's all I care about. Because at the end of the day, all the Megazord fights pretty much end the same. They're either going to win or they're going to lose, and then they're going to win the next week. Like. And the fighting, it's like, okay, they're going to fight the bad guys, they're going to fight the henchmen, something's going to happen to where...
It doesn't matter what variation or what iteration
it's all the same.
Rangers it is, right?
Granted,
it's all the same.
I still love that. Like, it's a formula that works, obviously. I look at Super Sentai, they're on their 48th season.
Don't get me wrong, it's freaking awesome. I mean, going back to, it reminds me of watching Voltron and them all coming together and like, oh my god, this is freaking great.
Speaking of Voltron, I just saw this the other day. Hugh Jackman got casted in the Voltron
Yes.
That's
right. Hugh Jackman and...
Henry Cavill
as well.
Yeah. Oh wait, I might be getting my actors. Is Hugh Jackman in it?
I thought it was Hugh Jackman.
I think I got my actors mixed up.
But I remember seeing Henry Cavill because I told you.
I think it is Henry Cavill. I think I might be getting my people mixed up.
Let's look this up.
I'm like now that we're saying Henry Cavill, I'm pretty sure it's Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Because Hugh Jackman is going to be in a different movie. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think we got our things mixed up.
But we did talk about that. I did tell you Henry Cavill, right, for Voltron.
Yeah.
I think it is.
To lead live-action Voltron movie, Henry Cavill.
Was there another person, or is that only the same
person? No. So I got my actors mixed up.
Me too.
I think I just like Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman's great.
Yeah,
he's a phenomenal. He seems like a great guy. I would love to hang out with him.
So
Vic's looking it up right now, but I'm pretty sure I got my actors mixed up. To be fair, Henry Cavill, also an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Good-looking guy. I think he got shafted with the Superman stuff.
Yes.
That's a topic for another day.
And then The Witcher.
Dude, that. Yeah.
So going back to what I'm saying about Voltron, I've always been a big mech guy. Right. Probably top 2, second, third anime of all time is Gundam Wing. Love anything with mechs. Love the old Pat Labor series on old anime series. But so when it came to like Power Rangers and watching it, like my brother was really into it when we were younger, and it was like. That's pretty fun. So I don't mind watching some of the scenes when they, granted they look pretty much all the same.
It doesn't say.
What?
Yeah, I think I just got my actors mixed up.
So I get where you're coming from, but all of them look the same. But I watch less story in those shows, and maybe that's why I've never gone back and watched all. That's why I'm trying to go back and watch them now. Some of them are pretty interesting.
Yeah, because I've talked to you about this, where it's like, I think everyone looks at Power Rangers as because basically it's what it is. It's a kid show, right? At the end of the day, it's a kid show.
Yeah.
I want it to be more than a kid show, but in the eyes of the general public, it's a kid show. It's a show for kids. Teenagers or young adults in brightly colored spandex. Fighting monsters. It's a very kid thing to do. But in those shows, there are some pretty cool character ideas.
Mm-hmm.
For some of our D&D campaigns, I've taken creative liberty in using some of the Super Sentai lore and Power Rangers lore. I've talked to you about the next one I want to do.
Yeah.
With the character that I would really like to do.
Which will be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. And it's like they have cool ideas like that, but nobody gives them the time of day.
Yeah.
Because it's a kid show. Nobody
Yeah.
nobody cares about this kid show. Like, there's this perception that kid shows can't be super deep, or they can't have like these really deep messaging.
Mm-hmm.
When like most of them actually do, but they just don't get the time of day.
Right.
Well, even if they don't have deep messaging, I mean, they can be fun and still be good as well. Even if it's a kid show, right? Pokemon's supposed to be a kid show. Kid movies are for kids. I love the Pokemon movies. I love all of them. They're even the ones that weren't that good. You know,
Well, I mean, nowadays that sentiment is kind of changing because a lot of like kids shows are starting to be more like that deep or saying more like serious storytelling. Like, I feel like we've had this conversation before. I don't remember when we did, but this was like a conversation was like, oh, you know, like Power Rangers, you know, it's got pretty good storytelling, but basically what we were just saying goes along the same lines. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, like cartoons nowadays are sort of becoming like leaning more into that direction, like Steven Universe, Adventure Time at one point was like had like really serious storytelling.
but granted, Steven Universe and Adventure Time are old shows.
Well, now, but you know,
Well, it's I think what you're thinking is, and it's the thing I think that happens a lot more now, is that they're making these cartoons and these shows that are aimed for kids, but the creators are also realizing that these kids, their parents are also watching it with them,
mm-hmm.
and you can't just it's like back in the day when they would do like TV shows, but they would put like adult jokes in,
Yeah,
and it's like, well, the kid's not gonna understand it, but the adults will.
yeah,
It's like that, but like now it's like they're making stories to where the parents can be like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting.
But at the same time, I think they're really some shows. I think they're making for an older audience. I think they're making like, hey, these kids used to watch these things, so you know what, we're gonna make them for Rick and Morty. They didn't make that for kids.
Oh no,
To be fair, that's an Adult Swim thing.
that's an
So like I think I think the whole point is not.
Yeah, no, I get you. But there's quite a few Adult Swim shows that like, I wouldn't say kids like a 7-year-old, but like maybe a 11 to 14-year-old can watch an Adult Swim shows pretty decent, okay. And most of them, maybe not all of them, but
yeah.
And it's not like adults don't have like adult cartoons, right? South Park's a thing.
Oh
yeah, Family Guy,
Family Guy,
American Dad, like I get it.
Does The Simpsons count?
Technically, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean that that's like the same. You can make
I think
that.
The Simpsons has been more like a teen, younger,
Oh, yeah.
9-10-year-old. You're cool. I think a 5 to 7-year-old is not really going to get The Simpsons humor.
True.
So
Yeah, I would say it's like in terms of like how crude it is. It's like on the like the softer end.
Got it.
it is, yeah.
Because like
yeah.
I would say Family Guy is worse than Simpsons in terms
Oh,
of,
way
in
worse.
terms,
Yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of like how crude it is.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think Family Guy's that bad. Like, don't get me wrong, it could get bad.
There are some.
There are some
episodes.
wild.
Well, because here's the thing, right? It's like Simpsons and then Family Guy, but then there's like South Park. South Park's up here.
South Park is
True,
pretty,
but South Park's in its own category. I mean, that's its own. Like, I don't know. That's.
To be fair, if there's a category for something like South Park, it's literally just by itself. Because
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a show, an animated show, on the level of South Park that has even come close to like the topics and stuff that they discuss in South Park.
You know what? Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of like what are some more adult shows as well, and it's still Adult Swim, right? So
Yeah.
Well,
like
Aqua Team Hunger Force.
Aqua Teen-
well,
yes, I love Aqua Teen
what
Hunger.
what I said earlier. The new Vox Machina season came out. That's all animated.
Yeah, but
It's made for
Adults.
like
Yeah.
dude like. Yeah, like first episode, like season 1, first episode, they got people being crushed with like blood splatters everywhere. It's like, yeah.
I like season 1. Never saw season 2.
I've never seen the show. Everyone tells me it's good though,
It's pretty good.
so I'll watch it one day.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, season 3 is out right now.
Yeah, go watch season 3.
It's pretty good.
I've never seen
I'm
the first
watching
2
it right
seasons.
now.
Anyway, before we get onto our next thing, it was because that's all stemmed from a hot take.
Yeah.
Before we
Hey,
went on
pretty
the
good
tang-
hot take. Huh?
To be fair, that was a hot take.
That was a
Speaking of, you were talking about Power Rangers earlier. We were talking about this the other day. Hasbro's kind of like.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it. I didn't. There was a part of me that didn't want to talk about it because like I didn't know if it was like big enough news. Because at the end of the day, the Power Rangers community is very small.
Right.
True, but I mean, like, just.
Yeah, so It's basically to catch Vic up, because I kind of explained this to John.
I went and looked more about it. That's why.
And I guess to explain it to the people who are watching this, Hasbro is basically selling pretty much all of the props and suits from the 30 years Power Rangers. They're putting them up for auction, and
October 18th, if you're interested in buying.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's October 18th. Anyway, but they didn't tell the actors that they were doing that. So, because it's a public auction, anybody can bid for it.
Right.
So, there's been some criticisms aimed at Hasbro for basically being like, "Hey, you're auctioning off these things, you know," and I'm sure the actors would really appreciate having their stuff. And some of them have come out and publicly said, "Hey, this isn't cool. I'm gonna bid on my stuff because I want it," you know, because like, I think because I've seen people kind of point this out, and it's like, well, it was a job. You know, they got paid for their job. You know, they did their job.
Right.
Whatever happens after that, you know, it's too bad, basically. Sure. And like to a certain extent, I can see that argument. But working on something like Power Rangers, it's not like you work for like 3 months and that's it. You're working pretty much a full calendar year, probably like anywhere between like 9 to 10 months to do a show, because the show basically runs through the entire year, especially back in the day. You know, there was like 40 episodes a season, and you know that's basically like one episode a week with like a break in between. You know, that's pretty much almost the whole year. You know, and a lot of people, not all of them, because obviously there's been some Power Rangers actors that have come out and said they didn't really like their time, you know, because they were working long hours and it wasn't really good pay. You know, for a lot of people that was their first gig, you know, doing Power Rangers. So some of them don't have a super positive outlook on like the show and just the brand in general. But like there are people that did like their time doing it, that did enjoy working on those shows, that would like to own the stuff that basically gave them their start, or that just a role that they really enjoyed. So I've been, you know, I think one of the people who's been really kind of coming out about it was her name's Hunter Dino, and I'm pretty sure it's Dino, could be Dino. I'm like 90% sure it's Dino. Anyway, she was the pink Dino Fury Ranger and the red Cosmic Fury Ranger, and she's I'm gonna say the first, because technically she's the second, because the second like female red. You know, it was a big deal for her to be a female Red Ranger, because it only happened once, and it was like for like 2 episodes in Power Rangers Samurai. That's why I don't really count it, because it was more so like because that's how the story was supposed to go, rather than like, oh, they actively wanted to make a female Red Ranger. Whereas like when Amelia did it for Cosmic Fury, you know, that it was in story like, hey, she's gonna be the new Red Ranger.
Right.
So to me she's like the first. Whereas like the other one, it was for 2 episodes, and then the Red Ranger of that season came back anyway.
Cameo Red Ranger.
Yeah. Granted, that girl, I forget her name. She is really proud of that role. Like she goes to conventions and like I think she has every right to be proud of that role, because I actually think she did the role pretty decently for like the limited amount of episodes she's done. Like I think it was like 2 or 3. You know, I think she did her job pretty well, and she obviously really liked it. And they've done stuff with that character since, like in comics and stuff. Like it's pretty good for what it is. But yeah, Hunter, she, you know, and this isn't the first time she's called out Hasbro. For just not doing a good job with like whether it's promoting the show or just doing anything with the show. So she's called them out this time for like, hey, you know, thanks for the heads up. You know, I'm gonna be bidding on my stuff. You know, so if people could like maybe not bid on my things, because I think she said it's like, well, I'm either gonna get my suit or I'm gonna get my hammer. And I really hope she does get her suit. Granted, I think the Cosmic Fury suits are kind of ugly, but if she wants it, that's what's important. And I think any Ranger that has come out and said, I want to bid on my suit, I think as a fandom, everybody needs to step aside. Everybody, it's like, hey, you want it, then go for it.
I mean, the studio could have at least maybe
like approached them and be like, hey, do you want
to buy it?
Yeah, you want to buy it?
You know,
like privately,
yeah. I mean, if you're not going to give it to them, at least, you know, give them the option to buy before you put it up for sale or for auction. You know, like you brought up the point where some people were like saying like it's a job though, right? You know, it's just, that's what you did. You made your money and that's it. But at the same time, Power Rangers are one of those things where it's like the fans look at it like, even I look at it like, that person is that Ranger for that show. Like there's not going to be any other Ranger or any other person who played a Ranger for that show for that specific one, right? For Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so that person is that character. So like, for you to like just be so nonchalant about like, oh, it's just, it's just a job. No, it's not just a job. They were that thing that somebody loved for this amount of time, or and it's like, I'm sure you've gone back and watched shows again, right? Like seasons again.
I watch my favorite seasons probably once a year.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like for them to be so, I don't know, cold-hearted about it. Yeah, callous. It's just like, man, it's kind of messed up.
Because what this shows to me is that Hasbro just doesn't care.
No.
They don't care about the
if
Power
they
Rangers
didn't,
as a brand.
Yeah.
Which, as a multi-million-dollar company,
Well, look at all the brands that they own now. That it's just like, you can tell they don't really care. It's like,
don't they own Wizard of the Coast too?
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah. All the distribution and all the stuff like that. So, yeah, if you're buying anything D&D, it's from Hasbro. If you're buying any kind of almost any board game, it's from Hasbro.
Yeah.
So,
but like I said, it's like, and here's the thing. I think if anybody who was a Ranger actor, or even like who voiced one of the monsters, because they're also selling the monsters like costumes that they have.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think if anybody has come out and said that they want to bid on their stuff, you need to get out of the way. You need to let them do it,
right? And
hopefully they can get it.
If it doesn't get bid on, then bid on it. If you want it.
Now again, if I don't know, it's one of those like double-edged things, right? It's like, because there's gonna be the actors who say that they want it. There's gonna be the actors who don't care, and they're like, you can go ahead and bid on it. And then there's gonna be probably, I don't know if I should say the majority, because like, again, I don't know, but like there's also gonna be the actors who just don't know that this is even going on.
That's right.
Who like just aren't in the know, or maybe they just, I don't know, maybe they don't care about knowing this type of stuff. That are just gonna have it. I think a really good point that I saw Yoshi Sudarsu, who played Koda, the blue Dino Charge Ranger, because he found out, I think, through social media, or somebody sent him the link or something, and he said he's going to bid on his suit. But one thing that he brought up, which I was like, yeah, you could have done this. He was like, think of how much good publicity it would have been for Hasbro if they just gave all the Rangers their suits. Just being like, hey, this is taking up space at whatever warehouse we're keeping these in. We want to move it out so we can start putting some new stuff in there or whatever. Let's get in contact with, because I'm sure they have the contact information for most of the people.
Sure.
And even if they don't, I'm sure they can get in contact with somebody who does have contact information for people. And it's like, hey, for good PR, Power Rangers, for just like good PR, let's just give them their suits.
Yeah.
Because you give them their suits for free. I'm sure those Ranger actors, they'll make a video about it, being like, hey, I got my suit. I haven't seen this suit for X amount of years. Because another thing that, I've seen people who are defending the argument of like, it's like, no, the Rangers should have their suits. It's like, most of those suits are tailor-made for them.
Yeah.
Like they go and they get the measurements done, and it's specifically fitted for them. Whether they fit in them now or not, that's a different story. But like at the time, that was their suit. It's like, hey, this is my suit. I'm wearing this. Like, I feel like a hero, And that's why I'm on the side of like, they should be allowed to have these.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think they should own like everything? That's up for debate.
Yeah.
Do I think that they need to have their changers or their helmets, or I mean, the helmet comes with the suit. I guess that's about it.
If the company's getting rid of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be on the side of like,
I think I'm on the side they should have their suits, but I think like all of the other stuff, like
why?
Well, because there's a difference between.
I think what Vic's trying to say is there's more of a connection to the suit than there is to like the weapons that come with the suit.
Yeah, because I mean,
like having the suit is cool, but like, do you need the blaster that's coming with the suit and the sword that might have come with the suit? That are just going to be on the sides anyways. Those things I think you can let go, because I think a fan would probably enjoy those more than the actor who probably just cares about the suit anyways.
Yeah.
So like, I think if you're auctioning off a prop, because like
Yeah,
I think they're auctioning off like morphers and blasters and stuff like that as well from like their
which
respective
I
shows.
think that'd be cool to auction out, right? Because it's like, hey, this is like,
Yeah, I can see why they're doing this because people like screen used stuff.
yeah.
You know, I don't think I'll bid on anything, but I'll go and see if I could bid on something,
Hell yeah.
like just to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
That's another question I was going to ask. Like, would you build? I mean, I would too. That's just
It just
like,
depends because like, here's the thing, right? It's
kind
like
of cool. I mean,
it's like I don't know. Power Rangers like as a brand is like really low, but like I don't know how low it is to like value wise. Like are they going to be like, okay, starting bid $500? Well, that's already out of my price range. So
Well, also, a lot of people that are already fans of Power Rangers are probably also collectors.
well, here's the thing. Another thing that I've seen is from like the side of like people should be able to bid on this stuff. Is that people are like, or from like the fandom side of like, no, the fans should be able to bid on it, or at least the fans that are doing prop recreations and suit recreations to like sell like for commissions.
Oh, yeah.
Because now they can have a 1-to-1 replica of the suit, so they can make their suits better, so they could sell like cosplay suits, you know, and they can do stuff like that. Or like, hey, I have the OG helmet. I can 3D render like the dragon helmet.
Make it more authentic.
Yeah, make it more authentic, so that way people who want to do cosplays, you know, they can now have a more screen accurate helmet. And like and I'm looking at it from that side too, and I'm like, well, that makes sense too.
That
but
does
like,
make sense.
because I've also seen another side from the argument. I've seen this like this whole thing from multiple different angles. Because I've also seen the argument of like, well, what if the actor bids on it and they get it, but then they end up selling it again anyways? You know, maybe they're tight on cash, and they just need to get rid of it. For me, at that point, it's like, well, then they have the right to do that.
Yeah, it's theirs.
Because sometimes times are tough. You know, we have to get rid of stuff that we don't want to.
But then if you say that, then you also have to say, well, that's Hasbro stuff, so they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which at that point that goes
I don't
back.
know.
You know,
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's a very tricky situation that they're in, and I don't know.
I just thought it was something interesting. We talked about the other day.
Yeah.
Right. I will say this: it has definitely, I think, shaken up the Power Ranger fandom a little bit. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to bid on anything. I'll probably check just to see what there is.
Hey.
I don't actually know how long the auction is for. Like, I don't know if it's like a 1 day thing or it's like a couple days.
Yeah, you never know. There's lots of pages. You know, just imagine.
Yeah, we were.
And you're like,
yeah, we were going
$1.
Yeah, we were going through the pages, and there's a decent amount. It's pretty much every single season has a page. I did see though, they are selling. They're auctioning off Twee Trangs, who was the original MMPR.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're auctioning off the original MMPR yellow suit, like the one that she wore before she passed.
Yeah.
That one is the only one I think where I'm like, you should send that to the family.
Yeah, that's
Because I'm sure the family would appreciate that more than any other fan would. You know, because obviously she passed. Yeah. It's the same thing with like any of the other Rangers that have passed. Because there's been a few. There's Twee, Pua, Tommy, Jason David Frank. There's been a few of them that have passed. That I think those suits should probably go to the families, or at least they would appreciate it more if it went to the families. But I don't know. I could also be wrong on that. You know. Yeah. But anyway,
you can be like, I didn't like him when he was on Power Rangers.
Actually, if there's one thing I want to say about Jason David Frank, I think the fandom and the brand as a whole was at its strongest when he was still with us.
Yeah,
because I think he was actively trying to keep the brand alive.
Yeah,
because I think he genuinely cared. And I've met Jason David Frank one time, and he is one of the nicest people I've ever met. He actually gives so much of a shit. Sorry for my curse word, but he cared so much about every single fan that he ever met. He would genuinely give you time to like talk to him, even if it was only like a couple minutes. You know, I always look back at, I've told you this story, the first time I met him, and it was at a Comic-Con here in San Antonio, and my brother had to work, but he really wanted to meet him. So he's like, hey man, do you think you can, meet him for me? Go get an autograph or something. And he didn't have any money to like get the autograph. So I basically used all my money. And at the time I was with somebody. Like we went to go, and I go in his line. And it's a very long line. Everybody wanted to go and see him. And I was like, hey, you go and take your, because they took their little brother. I was like, you can go and see basically everything that you want. I think I'm gonna be here a while.
Yeah.
And I stood in that line for like 4 hours.
Oh.
Most of my day was spent in that line waiting to meet Jason David Frank because everybody wanted to meet him because everybody loved Jason. Everybody loves the character of Tommy. And I finally get up to the line. I meet his manager. I think her name was Frances. She's very nice. And I finally get up to go and meet Jason. He's there. He greets me, shakes my hand. He just tells me, the same thing he probably tells to everybody, But it felt genuine. It felt real. And I basically tell him, it's like, hey, he's like, what'd you get? I was like, oh, I got the photo and autograph bundle thing. He's like, all right, cool. Like, who do you want me to make it out to? I was like, what's your name? He's like, oh, well, it's not for me. It's for my brother. He likes you a lot more than I do. I love you, but he is like, I'm sure you hear this all the time. He's your biggest fan. He couldn't be here, and I'm doing this for him. I basically used up all my money to have this happen.
Right.
And he goes, hey man, that's actually really cool because another thing is his brother passed. He committed unalive.
Right.
And he goes, that's really cool that you do that. Family's everything. And he's like, do you want me to record a video for him? And I'm like, would you? He's like, yeah, give me your phone. And he goes and he records the video for him. And he says his name and shows him signing the autograph. And he didn't charge me for that.
That's cool.
He didn't charge me. And he just did, and I still have that video on my phone to this day.
Yeah, I'd keep it forever.
Yeah, that video is never being deleted. And then I took a picture with him. We went on our separate ways, and I was just like, this guy is one of the nicest people I've ever met. One of the most genuine people I've ever met.
That's really cool.
He cared. Because there's a lot of drama right now about Rangers, and a lot of them doing it for money, doing these conventions. They want guarantees, and they want this, and they want that. And he never cared. I feel like he never cared about the money. For him, this was just like his way of giving back to the fans that he basically helped raise and grow up with. And rest in peace, Jason David Frank.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's
I think you told me once, but I didn't know he
did
the video.
No,
I forgot. Yeah,
it's I miss him. I remember I cried when he died. Like, I'm just being real. But yeah, that's my Jason David Frank story. After all this Power Rangers talk. How long have we been doing this? It's pretty late now.
1 hour 40 minutes.
I think this is a safe spot.
That's a good.
A nice happy story to end this podcast. But we're not done yet. We have our, I guess it's what you wouldn't call it, annual or weekly? Yeah, weekly.
Weekly.
Annual.
Should be weekly.
We're not doing it annual. So like we said, or like I said at the beginning, we had a technical issue last time. So we actually opened up packs the last time, but so this is technically the fourth thing of packs that we've opened, even though this is the third video.
4 total, 3 on screen.
Yeah, 4 total, 3 on screen.
Yeah.
And we're not going to redo those pack openings, but we will show you the cards that were pulled. I am now at 2. Both of these guys, or I shouldn't say I'm at 2. I stayed the same, but these guys did pull something. So we are now 3, 3, and 2 in terms of like the hits. We will now put the cards here that they pulled.
Yeah.
Somewhere in here. I actually don't remember the cards that they pulled. I'm sure John will go and find them. But this is where this is where they will be, hopefully. But now we will just pick our packs, and we actually don't have a dice, so we will just have to pick. I don't think we have a dice here to roll for.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Oh, actually, wait. I have my backpack, which means I have my dice. Oh, where is it?
Just get a D6.
Yeah. My Mario Party dice.
Hey,
that I got off.
They're actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I got them off Etsy from the. I forget the name. I'll give them a shout out because I actually think they do good work. These were.
They're
expensive.
really nice. Yeah,
they're really nice.
Yeah.
And they're easy to read too.
That's what I was.
Yeah, they're very cool. Obviously, they're not actually called Mario Party dice. I think they were called like Fiesta Mushroom.
Which
I mean, you're not going to be able to call them Mario
read
Party
between the lines.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah,
it is.
you basically Simpleful Craft on Etsy. They don't do a whole lot of drops. Like right now, they're actually doing a Princess Peach dice tray for these dice.
Oh.
But it's also just as expensive as the dice were, so I just haven't got them.
I have a lot of dice sets, and from metal to poly to these are some of the nicest ones that I've ever. The feel,
interference,
the weight. You hit me.
Well, no one's beaten
There's 6.
So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you might.
2.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Well, at least okay. So John can pick his dice. He can pick his pack first.
We're gonna go with this one.
All right. So he's getting Lapras. I am gonna go because I went with Lapras last time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I will go with Cinderace.
I guess I'm Joltik.
That's a Galvantula.
Galvantula. Yeah. Great.
All right. So we will open up our packs as is tradition. This is riveting.
ASMR Pokemon opening.
Oh my god, we're not doing that. You know what? I'll be nice this time. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but if you can, there's a code. That's upside down. There you go.
For what?
Code. Because these give you a free pack on PTCGO.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
hey,
you know what?
Let's
you
do
know
that.
I'll pop up each code on the screen.
Hey, there we go.
There
So
we go.
whoever gets them first gets.
Yeah.
If anybody gets it.
If anybody gets it.
You watch it, you get it. Whatever.
There you go.
Or maybe you're one of those people you know that we're gonna start doing this and you're just gonna immediately skip to the end.
Maybe we won't do it.
Actually, you know, no. Here's we'll do what I remember Maximofo Pokemon does. We'll put the code, but we'll keep the last digit of it off, and you have to guess what it is.
You have to guess what it is. That's
amazing. There you go.
You'll have to put in every single type of option for that last digit.
Which is
so. Besides the one that I probably showed, it might have came up, but okay. So
that's it, right? Just
yeah,
the back.
The back, yeah, the back is an energy. So
yeah,
we got grass, dark, and steel.
Cool.
All right. Well,
so we go from the front, right?
Yeah, just from the front. John, you will go first. As is
all
tradition.
right. We got a Glameow, a Pancham, Charjabug, Salandit, Electivire, Dubwool, Pangoro, if I'm saying that correct, a Drifloon, a Kling
Clang.
and a Dreadnought.
Okay. So John didn't get a hit, but he's still technically ahead of me. So it doesn't really matter that he didn't get a hit. I'm more proud that John got most of those Pokemon names right.
Damn.
I've been studying a little bit.
Yeah, look at you studying.
Whoa, studying.
Studying for the.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah, the
pretty card.
Yeah, the hull is pretty good. All right.
Pretty good.
I guess Vic will go next. Actually, I should probably go next
Yeah.
because I was the second person to give him a
Yeah,
pack.
yeah.
All right. So I got a Clang, Cyclozar, Gulpin, Greavard, Crabominable, Glass Trumpet, Talonflame, a Spathra, Morgrim, and a Lucario EX.
Whoa.
All right, so now I'm back to being tied
We're tied.
with you two.
We're tied.
All right, so Vic technically can be the only one in the lead now if he gets a hit. So this is very exciting.
All right. I got a Palmy,
All right, Paul.
Fletchling, Meryl, Gossifleur,
Yes.
Veluza,
Yeah.
Swalot, Piapa Berry, Noctowl, Gulpin, Grimmsnarl.
All right, he didn't get a hit either. So we're all back to being tied.
Yeah, we're tied.
Yay, ties.
So,
But he actually did get a pretty playable card in this Noctowl.
Ooh.
Maybe we'll talk about it next time.
You want to keep the energies together?
No, we'll pop them here. I've been making
Yeah, we'll just do that.
I'll put them in.
We'll just keep everything together. Anyway, guys, that is the end of our episode 2. As we say always, thank you for your time, because time is precious, and you don't have to be watching this, but you're choosing to do that, and we appreciate it. I think this is also the first time we've ever said this. Please like and subscribe.
Please.
I sound so like cringe saying that, but like it does help engagement and stuff like that. Leave a comment if there's anything else you want us to talk about that maybe you like. Again, just let us know. We're willing to talk about anything and anything. So yeah, thank you guys. I guess that's it.
All right,
Thank
you
you
for watching.
All
See you on the next one.
Peace.